Deep dive time here at the mailbag. It's been a hectic few days. Obviously, the night racing at Moonee Valley came to a conclusion. We had some cancelled races up at Rosehill and throughout New South Wales, so it's made things a little bit easier to process. But we're just going to keep a consistent theme today on the deep dive. We're going to talk about handling track bias, track pattern, perceived changes in the weather and how it results in different bets. But we'll start off with a conversation about Moonee Valley. Dickens, good night there at the Valley.
Yeah, great night at the Valley. Pretty hard to lose when we found that first winner at like $10 or $12. And once it sort of landed 1A, like instantly it wasn't hard to sort of have a little bit more on. It was a really good start to the night. The time... Now, people were talking it's like the fastest 1,000-metre race or fastest something race in like history or something at Moonee Valley. I saw that on Twitter.
That was the 9:55 race, I think, race 5.
I thought it was race 1.
Don't know. Play on.
Did you see the narrative on Twitter about race 1 being one of the fastest 1,000-metre 2-year-old races in the history of Moonee Valley?
Nah, I can't say I did.
Well, I think I saw it. Well, hopefully I'm not making that up. But anyway, beautiful thing of Punting Form, they wind it in and make it right. So that race has run a figure of 8.3, which is very strong for a 2-year-old race. But it's not like 16 or something. So it's a competitive figure versus the rest of the day, but not enormous. The biggest figure of the night was Masked Crusader winning the William Reid. Some fascinating tempos on Friday night, given the way the track was playing and did play.
Was it more on speed or was it more rails and run? What's your opinion?
It was probably rails and run on speed.
Yeah, I agree with that.
On speed, rails and run. But I think that when you read this data, should we start at the William Reid?
Yeah, of course.
When you just look at the data, which we're doing right now live for the first time, all of us, I think the horse is probably even more impressive. Because they haven't gone quick. Great ride, Nifty Noel Callow, Pippi, like he hasn't overcooked it at all. Portland Sky, great ride, Mark Zara. They haven't gone too quick. Like, proper credit to September Run, particularly Libertini as well, to circle like they did. They haven't gone that quick.
So what are we doing in this race going forward then? Because obviously Masked Crusader, rails and run, it ran impressive splits through the line, but completely blessed versus the day. And obviously Pike's just like, it's a perfect Pike ride, isn't it? I'm going to sit back on the fence, wait for a gap, go through the gap, away we go. Portland Sky, suited. As you said, Libertini and September Run, what price are they going forward if they turn up in another sprint anytime soon?
We'll get to Libertini's. We'll get to September Run in a sec, because that's a fascinating thing. But I think Libertini's probably got the most merit from this race. Got the SP, it was in lane 3, which wasn't the place to be. That was first up. That was its first go at Moonee Valley. There's a lot of ticks for that horse, I thought. It's obviously always going to be what price are they next start if they all raced again, I guess is the hypothetical we're discussing now. I'd expect Masked Crusader would go up favourite, and I'd be looking at bet around it because it would be favourite and because it was blessed in run. But it was one of the great rides. Like, he has really hit form, and it was like you said before we started, Pete, he was back in Perth on Saturday. He's riding against the B set here, and he taught them all a lesson. Great ride, the winner. Portland Sky, flying, legitimate Group 1 horse now. If this is a legitimate Group 1, it's here or there. But yeah, September Run was good and Libertini were good. They're the two that I really liked, Libertini and September Run. September Run's SP curls. So I think when I price the race, top of head, you'll know my prices, Peter, because they're our prices. We bet off them all night. I reckon we had September Run like $12 or $13.
Yeah.
Which I felt really uncomfortable about because it SP $2 like 80 in a better, stronger race than this last start, and I thought there was genuine excuses in that run. But the way we do it, it just sort of was, the price was the price. When the race came around and we saw this horse parade, it had improved lengths upon lengths on the parade at Flemington to the way I mark horses on their parades. And it was fucking $13 a fare. $12 at least. I probably shouldn't have backed it, but I did. I just couldn't get over the drift with that parade. Obviously, it's always going to have to overcome a bias at Moonee Valley. Even if they're swooping at Moonee Valley, this horse is still not going to be suited from that barrier. It's going to be last. There's going to be a horse like Libertini or whatever in front of it that's swooping. But huge price, big run. Curls, what do you do with that sort of setup?
Well, I think I tweeted after the race that September Run probably wins that race any other track, any other day. And then we had a bit of a debate after the race. I remember, should it have been hundreds? Because of the way the track's playing out. The market's got it right to a degree because it's, as you said, it's touched like $12 the fare. So the market's got it right. It was sub $5 all morning, on race morning, and it started $11 the fare. So the market has penalised it, and obviously has got it right. Just I don't know what you do going forward now. It's had two Group 1 runs. Target races likely. What now? Does it go up? Does it go north as an afterthought? I don't know.
Maybe Adelaide.
Radelaide.
Don't they have a few of those Group 1 sort of mares sprints or something? Is that a thing?
Possibly a Queensland winter.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. They're around the same time. Yeah, it's hard to know what to do with that horse. I mean, obviously it's targeted some better Group 1 races in Melbourne in the autumn, and where to from now? And is it an afterthought or whatever else? I don't know. So,
and there's probably going to be a few afterthoughts with the extra week that everyone's got now in Sydney too. So,
exactly.
I think though, if they run this race a few times and it gets some luck, and Master Crusader doesn't get any luck, it probably does win. It had no favours, none.
No, and I think obviously the first three, the first two home did have favours. So, it is what it is, I suppose. That's racing, and it's fair to say that's probably not uncommon around Moonee Valley either, is it? Moonee Valley just seems to race favoured in one way or another.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. The market really did come late for Masked Crusader. It was the nicest horse we'd probably seen parade, Pete, for the last 2 months, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was with Portland Sky as my main bet, and I really contemplated just completely flipping it to Masked Crusader. But in that sort of time of thinking, it went from about 11s into 7s.
Yeah, it was like 950 to 650 off the parade.
Yeah.
The track had already presented how it was race 7, right? So there's no surprise left in the track.
Great point.
It's 9 into 650 off the parade. There's no other way to. That was the move.
Yeah, and so that's it's probably the big Z man I'm thinking, because who else can move it like that and it would have a profile on this parade, Sydney versus Melbourne like that? Not us. But yeah, it was a big go. What do you do with Brooklyn Hustle?
Same thing I do every other time.
Needs perfect conditions.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. Brooklyn Hustle started shorter than September Run here.
That's what was growing me up. Late at night, just trying to digest those fucking chicken tacos. They're enormous there. Peter got the chicken strips with a lot of chips. Childlike behaviour. Should have seen him at the drive-through, because we went home and we skipped the last curls because it was no good, just like a 4-horse barrier trial.
Yeah,
and all you're going to do is get there and try and lay that favourite somehow. It's just some sick stuff. It's bad, so I just got out of there. took it to Macca's, said, "Do you want a McFlurry?" He said, "No." Ordered two anyway, like straight away. Scoffed it. Should have seen him giggling like a little boy, you know.
Into your work, straight into the feed bin.
Yeah, it was good. Anyway, great night. Really, really exciting horse, Masked Crusader. I don't know what they do with lots of these good horses though. Like Paul and Sky's been up a while now. Great preparation. Matt Laurie's flying. But like Masked Crusader, Libertini, September Run, even Flit. Do they want soft and heavy tracks? Because that's what they're going to get if they go to Sydney, isn't it?
You have to think so.
I think Libertini has to go back to Sydney.
Yeah.
Anyway, like she was first up. Obviously, obviously she's going to go back to Sydney definitely. So
she's had 8 starts on a good track for 5 wins, 2 seconds. She's had 5 starts on a soft track for 1 second, 2 thirds. Never seen a heavy.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary.
Yeah, well,
but she's flying.
That's Sydney, I suppose.
It is indeed.
Masked Crusader should handle wetter, heavier tracks. And now the extra week between runs, maybe the TJ's a big opportunity.
They all go there for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we jump to Mornington then and have a look at some of the, well, I'll use this term loosely, but features. We've already mentioned the fact that Pike cleaned up the narrative and all that, but he rode a variety of different styles on the day. He's led at an even tempo in Ginger Jones.
I thought that ride was so impressive. If you go back to like the spring riding campaign of his, there's no way on earth he'd lead. And there was a big gap, a huge gap to third, which you often see in panic and slow, and they just get caught as they enter the straight, and they've got no momentum, and all the others have momentum, and all they've done is just chuck their handbrake on while they're still accelerating. His like bravery and ability to count, he and Craig Newitt. I think Craig Newitt putting the foot down on Music Edition helped him, but the thinking and counting on this Ginger Jones ride was outstanding. And they haven't gone quick. They went even.
Conversely, the ride on Mount Popper was almost what I would term classic Pike. For those who follow him in the West, he will often lead and go way too slow. And in the end, that's exactly what's happened on Mount Popper. But none of the other jockeys showed any initiative whatsoever. The B set, C set of the Victorian jockeys just basically fell in behind him and let him do whatever he wanted there.
I think Michael Walker's exempt from criticism. Like, he's sitting outside the horse. What's he going to do?
Yes, Jack, you're right. He is exempt from criticism.
I don't know. When do I criticise him?
No, just in general. Coughing behind the leader and getting held up or whatever kind of else. I think and Michael Walker does cop a fair bit of flack on Twitter as well.
Yeah, but not from us. I'm team Tripod big time. His ride on Friday night on Quantum Mechanic was just courageous and smart.
It was as courageous as some rides on the others were completely brainless.
Yeah.
In that race. Cool. Like horses coming off the fence and not steering around the corner and drifting off the fence was no shock. But at the same time, like surely, we're talking a Group 1 night at Moonee Valley and surely they're understanding that the inside's superior. Anyway.
Yeah, and but the same can be said for every single horse here that wasn't first or second in the Mornington Cup.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievably just sleepy stuff. Sleepy riding. Usual suspects. I don't know what you do with this race. Like, you can't really bag any of them because they're not going to be suited by the slow tempo, some of these genuine stayers. I think Mount Popper will be overbet first up. I believe it's being spelled. And then it has like a Caulfield Cup preparation. I expect it's massively underbet first up. I didn't like the horse much at all as a type. Like, I wasn't blown away by it, which the wraps sort of pre-Saturday and sort of made you think you might be, especially after the same silk, same stable, same rider on Friday night with Masked Crusader. I know that was a sprinter versus stayer, but I don't think he's much chop, and I'll be against him first up because I expect he'll be very well found.
Okay, that's fair. Have a look at the Hariba. I want to just get your thoughts on this race because obviously really liked Labour Rod down the straight at Flemington. Arguably didn't get the best ride from Ollie on that occasion. Gets Pike on board, which they made the point. I think Pike hasn't ridden for the Casey Yard in about 6 years, and he's ridden 2 winners there out of 2 rides on Saturday. But Labour Rod, how you follow up your money ancestry? What do we make of it?
I didn't back Ancestry, did I?
No,
I didn't bet in this race because I was greyed up.
But that's my question. Like, how did you approach the race going into it? We didn't really discuss it. So, what was your thoughts on Labour Rod?
I thought Ancestry would piss in, but I was concerned Luke Nolan, who's cost me a bit of money this last 2 weeks, which has been good, still good 2 weeks, but I've been on the wrong side of him. I was concerned Ancestry. There was a big wind that hurt leaders and made a slight disadvantage to be rails and run on Saturday. I thought the parade was slightly off Ancestry. And all those combined just sort of graved me up enough to not bet. And particularly because I had a very large bet at Labour Rod, 2 back at Flemington, when the GOAT put in a bad one, I thought, on it. And then it went and lost it at Chuka or somewhere. So I was just confused with what to do, left it alone. In hindsight, Luke Nolan's ride on Ancestry was very good. The horse went 3.5 to the 600, 3.5 fast to the 600 at Moonee Valley. He went 3.7 fast at Mornington, so almost identical. No knock the ride. He didn't go too slow. The horse just, for whatever reason, didn't come up on Saturday. Maybe it's had enough. I expect we don't see it for a couple of weeks, couple of months.
Did Serious Suspect just do enough to make it work a bit?
Oh, it obviously didn't help, and like I've tried to stop doing this, but honest to God, two rides on Saturday were questioned by the stewards. In this race, one ride was questioned. Like, which horse in this race do you reckon was ridden to give itself almost none? Well, Pete, you wouldn't have watched the race. Look, I think Serious Suspect was just diggerised. Like, it hurt Ancestry, but it hurt itself. It should have just got in behind it.
Yeah.
It was working too hard to do what it was doing. It was fucking dumb. Anyway, they questioned Pike's ride on Labour Rod.
On the winner.
They queried the tactics because he didn't go forward.
Because it went forward at the Chuka.
Yeah, but it didn't go forward at Flemington. They didn't question the great one. Oh, fuck. Honestly. I just... Of all the shit we saw there on Saturday, like, we saw the slowest Mornington Cup in almost history. No one was questioned. They're questioning a winning ride.
Probably good point too, because you've also got Serious Suspect, who was $6 to $9.40 on the fair. So the market suggested it wasn't winning either.
Yeah, 100%. It was,
Ancestry was $1.80, pretty solid one. It got as what did it get as low as
Ancestry's betting was interesting, right? It was $2 about 15 minutes before. Then when the money starts to come, and it starts to come normally for the shorter priced horses first, it went into $1.80. It jumped about $2.
Yeah, it's going to say $1.60. Fly was $1.65, 15 minutes before the race.
Yeah, crunched, and then it went right back out.
$1.85-ish, the corpse, and then evens the fair.
And then, meanwhile, Labour Rod was $10 into $7.
Mm.
Which again graved me up a bit,
Mm.
But Labour Rod had been out as well, drifted out. But as they sort of settled in the mid race there, Pike just got into his work 3 wide. You could see on the TV there, like they went to the sort of the steward's view. You could see him just getting into his work. Great ride, but questioned. One of the 2 rides questioned. The other ride that was questioned, and we wonder why we get slow tempos. I think it might have been Carleen Heffel. Welcome back, Carleen, in the staying race. This is racing in Victoria right at the moment, right? Tactics queried. When questioned, apprentice Carleen Heffel explained the gelding was having its second start for the stable and she was instructed to try and have Norway in a forward position. She said from her wide gate and with little effort, her mount crossed the field to lead. If they had a clock, they would understand that it probably crossed with little effort because they went 15.6 slow to the 600. So this is a race on Saturday in the biggest fucking state for racing in Australia, we think. They've gone 15.6 slow to the 600, and the one rider questioned is the one that went to the front and showed initiative. And an apprentice. So next time this young apprentice gets in the same situation, they're going to go 18.8 slow to the 600. Like it's you couldn't make it up.
Send her back to
Try not
Perth.
to bag them. They do a great job. Blah blah blah. But that's just horrific.
Carleen, you're welcome back in WA anytime. Your front-running riding over there was clearly superior to most of the locals.
If I was a steward, though, I probably still would have questioned it. I'd say, why'd you go so slow?
Had to go a bit quicker.
Like, great work going up front. Just handlebars down, baby. Just keep going.
They're not having a great trot.
No, they're not. They're really not. Saturday's tempos were a disgrace in races 1, 2, 6, and 7. Dom Deschutes' win is a big effort. That was probably, I thought, his sleepiest winning ride, Pike. It was a bit too far back, given the tempo, but still too good.
In saying that, I still thought he always had them covered.
Yeah, and 100% so did I, and 100% most importantly, so did he, and he did.
Yeah, he did.
But he, like, it's a situation where you'll see a horse that just doesn't stop because they've gone so slow, and it doesn't make sense, but because they've gone so slow. Fortunately for us, that didn't happen. But the wind on Saturday at Mornington was enormous and has obviously played a role in some of these really slow tempos. But we're going to see more of them when apprentices are questioned for going 15.6 slow to the 600. Honestly. Fuck.
All right.
Lucky the data hasn't come through for Evoker yet, has it?
It was very well back to the winner.
Oh, you'd be sick, eh?
Imagine if you owned it and you bet big. You've missed that and the prize money probably.
And like it's rolled the odds on as well, like
which was real soft.
It's anyway, it's pretty crook. It's 9s into $5. It was a good go too, the winner.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just like the fact there's how many people involved in racing. There's jockeys, there's starters, there's stewards, there's people, race goers who actually know where, various starting positions of each of these races are. And there's multiple guys who have to move the gates, and no one at any point actually thought, oh, hang on, how long is this distance meant to be? Like, seriously.
Yeah, no one will be held accountable.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I was, you see it all the time. I'm not going to name names here because it'd be unfair, but I was doing a bit of a review the other day, like normal process, and I noticed a horse winning with blinkers on. And I went and had a look at the gear, and the horse wasn't listed as being a blinker horse at all. It was blinkers off. It's gone around and won a race with blinkers on. Like, how fucking sharp do you have to be to pick that up as they're going around the mountain, when it's your job, to tick off every horse's brand and gear as they walk into the parade ring? Well, they pay someone to do that. What hope we got? Sometimes I wonder.
Sometimes.
All right, Kells, we're talking about, handling bias and track conditions and how you adjust on the day. What did you pick up at Eagle Farm that can fill this familiar theme?
Well, yeah, that was interesting because, I went pretty strongly on Chico Milagro in the first, and it sort of got the right, everything mapped perfectly how I thought, and it sort of got to the middle of the track to present and never let down. It's come back to scale, making an abnormal respiratory noise. Was the vet report, and so were punters. In fairness, I had done the form and I knew which horses I wanted to be on during the day. I just wanted to watch the track, and I was in in a Uber to a party at the races. Went to the Gold Coast races on Saturday for a 40th birthday party. It was a phantom meeting because the races had called off due to the state of the track, and I Bible swear not one drop of rain for the entire day.
You're not religious, mate. That doesn't mean anything to anyone. You can say you are. No one's believing you.
I swear on my kid's health, it didn't rain during the day. Good. But the races weren't on. Anyway, another story. So then I sort of just watched a couple, and then I just thought that maybe the track wasn't suiting horses sort of getting to that sort of fifth, sixth, wider, and then up in the middle in the straight. So I dogged backing Joymaker because of that in the 2200 metre race. Now,
it pissed in, didn't it?
Trotted it. Yeah, it did. It absolutely pissed in. So I thought I sent out like Joymaker, like absolute obvious, but I'm not sure whether this track is going to is suiting the style. It gets out to sort of 350 the fair and trots up. So at that stage of the day,
very grey.
Yeah, there was a big tree in the middle of the function room that we were in.
Thinking about it.
Thought about it. So I thought, well, okay, so good. So the right horses can run on from that spot, and then I bet in the last two races with that in mind. Ventura Ocean took a long time to straighten up, but great ride, A Malian. He had that left hand rein hard down and stick in the right hand to try and get him that horse to come across the heels of, I think it was Baroda, sort of half drifting a little bit in front of him, and every time he looked to get past it, he'd have to sort of get a bit wider again. But got the job done in impressive fashion. And then Slow Hands, same sort of position in run and got to that part of the track as well and was able to finish off and win the last for us as well. So,
just for the punters at home, I'm sure some of them are thinking what I'm thinking. Why didn't you catch a chopper? Were they down because of the weather? And then, because of that, how much was that Uber?
I was only from the casino to the track, so it wasn't a lot. It was like $20 or something.
Oh, so you put yourself in there for the night?
Yeah, put myself into the at the hotel for the night. So I mean that's part. I think that's. And I'm not sure whether it's this time of year or whatever else, but I think when there's weather events around, whether it be rain or no rain, like we've saw examples recently where track managers are unsure what to do as far as irrigation is concerned because the rain has been forecast, so they don't water, then it doesn't rain, and then you're on a firm 3, fast horses running fast, hard to win from the back scenarios. And the sort of, obviously the rain that we've had on the eastern seaboard in Australia this week, had no idea what were going to at Eagle Farm. I mean, obviously Gold Coast had been called off because it was just a bog, and Eagle Farm sort of raced a good 4, slow 5 sort of range and copped a heap of rain. So it's it comes back to just like you have to watch the races that you're betting into. You have to adjust. I adjusted Saturday at Eagle Farm, and we're on the last 2 winners, and that's the difference between winning and losing.
I think that's a really good point, though, isn't it? It's very rare that you can go into a meeting expecting like a purely even track from the get-go, unless there's very light variable winds, in which case it's really difficult to monitor anyway. Like if it's going in 2 or 3 different directions during the day and it's 10 kilometres an hour or something like that, you can probably get away. But
unless you're at Flemington with a precise rail position just about. That's the only hope you've got. From what I read of what you guys write, and from what I know in Victoria, that's about the only place that ever is like, oh, I like this thing, yeah, just back it.
Yeah. Luckily, Ascot played perfectly on Saturday. That was probably one of those rail positions where it does tend to play very evenly, no matter what happens. So that was well timed.
Speaking of Saturday, Curls. Dees, how are you feeling about it?
Just a win. We're just a team with just a coach. I don't know where the improvement comes from.
Compare that, as in comparing that to, say, someone like a club like Sydney Swans.
Yes, Jack, yes.
Where that was like a rousing win, lead in pencil stuff. The boys are back. The game plan's evolved. It's changed. There's young, throbbing lads just getting through their gears. I don't even know who they were. Yeah, that full four guy's 18.
Unbelievable. Huge effort.
Oh, they're almost premiership favourites. We killed them. They kicked the first three too.
I think not only
in
did
two
they
and a half minutes, they kicked 3 goals. 15 minutes later, I had to get Darcy out of bed. I said, mate, you've got to watch this. Ems blow up. I said, no. Let the boy watch. He needs to see this.
Not only did they kick the first 3 goals, but a number of racing Twitter identities in Brisbane were tweeting, "Give us the cup now. This is our year." Talking
really?
about the Lions. The earliest of early cries you've ever seen. It's good to have the footy back, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was. It was bloody good on Saturday night because I'd obviously had a pretty good day, and then Benny sent through South to cover 8.5 line, which I thought was a great bet myself. So I pounded that, and then the overs in the Dragons game, and then Pete found one at Ascot. And
the only downer, the only Alexander for me was race 5 at Toowoomba. I was completely against Absolute Glory, who was the favourite. So I backed 3 horses at a price. One of them was Red Zeb, who got out to $10 on the fair. The kid was 3 back the fence. Moses parted the Red Seas. He shot through the gap. And I've done the big hands in the air in the middle of the garden bar at the casino.
Oh, piss.
Rain, standing in the rain, saying, I'm punting Jesus. And then this fucking semaphore girl has come from nowhere and knocked me off right on the line.
Oh.
Oh.
If someone wants to sponsor us, I'll sort it out. We'll just get a cameraman following Curly around for a Saturday. Or maybe a week. A week with Curls.
To commiserate, I've gone straight to the bar, and there's a bit of a lineup. So I'm buying drinks, like, you buy like a mojito or a vodka and soda and lime, and then you buy a chaser, like a White Claw hard soda can. You scull them with your glass so you can fill it up with the other vodka and soda can at the same time.
Always find the rort.
Oh, didn't end well, as you could imagine. But it was a winning week, and I should be grateful. It's good fun.
Yeah.
Footy was back. Winning bets on the Mailbag app on the footy's always good. Found myself running 3 screens on Friday night, betting Sunny Coast, Moonee Valley, NRL, and AFL.
Yeah.
Hectic setup.
Those same game multis are intense, eh? Like they really make shit games, and the games are, I think, too long. I preferred the shorter AFL games, but they make them a lot more watchable when there's no sting in it. And all you're doing is just looking for that little prick. Where is he?
Yeah,
get another one. Get another one. Kick it.
It's great because I find myself like cheering the player on, not the team. Like,
yeah,
the man that we're on playing loose man in defence that needs 20 touches, and he's racked up 6 in the first quarter. And you're like, good boy.
Yeah.
How sick was Friday night though, where the Setterfield needed 2 touches, and like the 50-1 multi sort of missed out because Setterfield hasn't been on the ground for 5 of the last 6 minutes.
Yeah, and then the missus is like looking at you going, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's like back when you were a kid, like playing fantasy footy, all I need, babe, is this guy to find 2 more touches, just 2.
Yeah.
Just 2. Why him? Well, because the Barefoot boys told me to do it.
Because you don't need shoes to bet. What's the week ahead, guys?
Oh, hang on. That's a good question.
Well, where are we? Monday morning here, 10 a.m, and it's still raining. Bow Desert's on tomorrow. I'd be unlikely to go ahead, I would have thought. Ipswich Wednesday will be wet. Warwick on Friday. Warwick's like this real, like, Ridge Darling Downs black soil track that once they get a millimetre of rain, it turns into a bog hole. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with Warwick on Friday. And then Saturday, it's Doomben, Gold Coast, and Toowoomba for me. So it'll just be waiting to see what happens with the weather.
There's a horse I've black book that goes around tomorrow at Benalla, so I just got to finish that race off, and we'll likely be having a big bet there in the maiden. Sandown on Wednesday, Pete, where we'll probably be confined to sit right near everyone else and not allowed to utilise the entirety of the grandstand again. My patience with that is about to evaporate. We're also not allowed to go down one side of the... Curls, listen to this for peak racing. We're not allowed to go one side of the fence because it's too close to where the jockeys and trainers congregate as they put the jockeys upon the horses. But we sit right behind the trainers in the grandstand. It's fucking peak racing. Anyway, looking forward to Sandown. It's my favourite track. I think we've got 2 left and we have a little break. So hopefully we can maintain the winning run there. Pakenham Kilmore Maidens Thursday. That'll be all we'll be doing. Probably same go Friday. I'll probably go and do the whole night at Cranbourne on Friday night. And we're going to have a young bloke making his debut for the mailbag on Saturday at Bendigo. I can, but I don't want to go. So it'll be my prices, his yard. So exciting little day there on Saturday for a good young man, and then Sale Maidens on Sunday.
Beautiful. Meanwhile, I'm back on course at Ascot this week for the WA Oaks COVID pending, which is exciting. So I'll have that, and then next week we've got the Good Friday meeting at Ascot once more. So it'll be the only show in town. We've got a good record in that meeting historically.
Good record.
Yeah.
Should have seen Curl before you joined. 1 year, I reckon he spent like 18 units and returned 104 or something. It was fucking unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
Including backing.
And there was nothing else. There was nothing else to do all day, so there was no excuse to like miss any of them. You got every bit of it. It was fucking enormous.
Back to 101 shot in the last.
Fancy not racing Good Friday. God. It's almost as stupid as the AFL people doing their COVID safe distancing interviews post-race, post-footy game, and then the interviewer goes and shakes hands with the player after they finish the interview. Don't get it. Jesus died for us to bet on Friday.
Yeah, and like, it's just like Sandown. Like, they want us to social distance, but they like don't let us use the entirety of the grandstand. All I want to do when I go to the races is fucking socially distance myself. That's all I want to do.
I appreciate that.
All right, very good, lads. We'll catch up later in the week to preview Bendigo and whatever.
No, we'll be on RSN tomorrow at about midday, probably, doing a midweek masterclass for Sandown, wherever we're racing in Queensland. Probably, I don't know if Road will even be on because they're probably still called off there in Sydney, but we'll do Perth wherever you're racing. Tuesday night, we'll record the Barefoot Punter, which will be NRL and AFL review, chat about whatever's going on. Who knows, this week maybe Curly might jump on or Roden. Each week, a few of us are going to rotate through. Then on Wednesday, we bet. Thursday, preview shows. We've got the Golden Slipper preview show, take 2. That's the fucking strip for me. But anyway. I didn't think of that till just then.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
12 races of joy.
Week. That's a complete strip. Anyway. Yeah. Big couple of days, guys. Fire up. Get excited. Diarise the Savo. Life's going to get a lot easier here at Seaford. Have a great week, guys. Bye for now.